So I think you and I can agree on the fact that we go out on a backpacking trip to have some kind of an experience. We don't just aimlessly throw a backpack full of gear on our back and just walk into the woods and see what happens. We want to have some kind of an experience, whether that's being out solo to reset our minds mentally and enjoy some solitude, or to be out with friends in a social setting and have that opportunity for that experience, or to go enjoy a new culture, a new environment, a new setting that you've never been in before, and explore and enjoy that opportunity. And I think one of the most important things that we do as backpackers is choose gear items that help facilitate a good, high quality experience in the backcountry. So today I want to talk about some of the most important gear changes that I've made in my backpacking gear that have helped facilitate better experiences for me and the backpacking trips that I go on. The first item we'll talk about is a piece of apparel, and this is a sun hoodie that has made a huge difference in my overall hiking experience. Now this is long sleeves and has a hood on it. Why is that important? Because for a really long time, I hiked in a cotton t-shirt while out on the trail. And a lot of times in summer settings, I would find myself thinking, well, I want to be as comfortable as possible, so I'm going to wear short sleeves. It's going to keep me cool. And then I would find myself getting roasted by the sun and bad sunburns and that kind of thing. So a sun hoodie has made a huge difference in that overall experience. I'm able to protect myself with long sleeves and a hood to stay better protected from the sun. The hood provides some additional warmth for sleeping and being out of the wind, and this is also 100% polyester, so it's not going to stretch when it gets wet, so I can use it as a cooling item when I get it wet in really hot temperatures, but it's also going to dry super fast. This is a huge, huge game changer when it comes to backpacking, and I think one of the most important layering pieces that you can use for backpacking. Now let's talk about shelters, because I think that this is one of the most important pieces of gear that you can change depending on what kind of trip you are going on. The environment that you are going to be backpacking in a lot of ways dictates the types of gear items that you choose to take with you. This is a freestanding double wall shelter, the Nemo Dragonfly Osmo, and this is the Zpacks Plex Solo. These are very different shelters, and they are applicable in different environments and different uses, and they are the right choice for depending on the trip that you're going on. The Plex Solo, sure, this thing saves a ton of weight in your backpacking, but it's not always the best weather option for high winds, for really bad humidity where you're going to get really bad condensation. It's important to realize that changing things up a little bit and having some options to choose from depending on what type of trip you're going on is going to make a big difference in your overall experience. And that's been the case for me as well. I love having so many different options to choose from because it allows for different types of experiences depending on what the trip is. And so sometimes a freestanding double wall shelter is the better option to choose from than a single wall 14-ounce trekking pole tent that may not be the best option for a desert situation or really high winds or the environment that I'm going to be spending my time in. Now the next piece of gear that I've changed in my backpacking is actually just adding more options to my stove selection to match what I need that stove to do for the cooking that I'm doing, for the group size, and the weather that I would be experiencing out on the trip. So oftentimes it was, I only need one stove, and a small compact stove like this is going to be what I need. Well, not always the case. And I last year picked up this MSR wind burner and realized, wow, that has made such a difference in when I'm going out with my family and I need to boil more water than just myself, or I'm in certain weather conditions that it's super windy, or I need a stove that's going to be as efficient as possible. This is my choice now for those situations where in a lot of cases this works really well for being out solo and such, but in a lot of cases, this also is the better choice. Having different stove options has made a big difference in that overall experience in my gear for cooking and my stove selection. So now the most important gear change that I have made in my backpacking has to do with my sleep system. Using a sleeping bag as opposed to a quilt has absolutely changed my overall experience in being more comfortable and getting better sleep. I wanted to love quilts. I used them for a long time, but I just never felt like I was getting the sleep that I deserved at the end of a hard day of hiking. And once I started using sleeping bags again, my sleep completely changed and I was getting better sleep, and I continue to get better sleep. I'm more comfortable, I'm more warm, and I just overall have a better experience by using a sleeping bag. And that is really, really key to me. Getting good sleep is so, so critical. And the other big change that I've made has to do with using a 25-inch wide sleeping pad as opposed to something that is more narrow. Why sleeping pads come in anything less than 25 inches wide is beyond me at this point. These are super lightweight, they are very comfortable, and they pack down super small, and they just provide better sleeping experiences. For 7 or 8 years straight, I slept on a Thermarest NeoAir X-Lite in the full mummy shape, and I can't tell you how many bad nights of sleep I had over those 7 or 8 years because, I mean, I didn't really know any different. And so now that I'm using a 25-inch wide pad as a side sleeper, I get better sleep, and it's just overall the best choice that I've made, in addition to using a sleeping bag that has made my experience on my backpacking trips just so much more enjoyable. I think the big moral of this whole conversation is to analyze your gear and figure out what it is with your backpacking gear that maybe isn't working out super well, that you want to change, that can help you have an overall better experience. So let me know down in the comments section gear changes that you have made that made a big difference in your overall experience for your backpacking. Have an awesome day. We'll catch you on the next one. See you later.